Hey everybody, I'm Sierra,
And I'm Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries. Question.
Okay,
Do you now understand? I mean, I'm now coming to a better understanding.
of football,
No.
since I gave you all that information.
I was going to say how people make a living doing just sound. For
Oh,
things.
yeah. Why tech and audio people make maybe not so much
But
money.
there's a whole career.
But there's an entire career, that I do not understand. And YouTube is helpful. But yeah, audio, we've been sitting here for 30 minutes?
That's what I think some people don't know how much work Sierra puts in just at the beginning, just trying. Even though it's the same thing every time, it appears, and I don't know because I'm not behind the computer. It appears it is almost different. You have to do different things almost every week, even though the setup and everything is the same.
Yeah, I have to adjust the numbers every week just based on our influxes, how close you are to the mic, or sometimes how not close you are to the mic. Yeah, I don't know, but the numbers have to be messed with and equalized every week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Seems fun.
Which is why other audio things probably don't get done, because I just want to produce something that people can listen to without a buzzing or a clicking or a whatever. At some point, I'd love to get to the point where I can hyper focus on nasal sniffs or something that everyone naturally does when you're talking and polish those out. But that's a project for another day. And then Ben just sniffed. Anyways, did you have a good week this week so far, babe?
Yepers.
Yeah, you had a 3-day weekend, which was nice.
Had 2 3-day weekends, and it's been glorious.
Yeah.
I have taken the last 2 Saturdays off.
And how long has it been since you've had a week, like a normal Saturday? Because even pre-current job, you worked.
I've always worked
Retail.
Shift work.
Yeah.
I've always worked some type of weekend.
Ben was
a lot of people
loss prevention at Macy's, and
yeah.
you need loss prevention 7 days a week.
There's a lot of people out there. We work weekends. We work weird shifts. That's fine. I'm not even complaining. But I have worked almost every Saturday in my career.
Yeah.
And I've taken just the last 2 Saturdays off just to be home.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've had weekends off for vacations or whatever, but it's been
our yards hasn't looked this good in months.
Yeah, I did yard work. I got stuff done, and I loved it because I got up early. Everyone was still in bed, and I turned on college football the morning, college game day. That starts at 6 a.m. and runs till 9. And I sat in my living room by myself and watched that and loved it. Then I watched college football on Saturday. It was wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. How was your week?
Good. It was a busy week for me. Real quick, anyone locally, I've participated in a few things with a little local theater company, and they did a production of The Mouse That Roared this weekend, which is just like a comedy about the time era of the Cold War. It was a very fun play. It was very cute. I got to do it with my oldest son. Small cast, very simple production staff as far as no major crazy tech or set or anything. And it was a lot of fun. It was a great play. I really enjoy doing live theater, so I'm exhausted. But yeah, good week. Elite Tech Week is always, week of show is always crazy. Weekend, 3 shows in 24 hours. It was great. So support your local arts, guys. If there's a community theater in your area, sign up for the shows, buy the tickets, go, because there's a lot of work that gets put into it. And everyone makes exactly $0 doing it. They just do it because they love getting to bring the arts to the community.
No, it was fun. We went. I took our other two kids and we saw it Saturday. It was a fun show.
Yeah, it was. It was a good time. All right. So today we are recapping what, Ben? Season 3, episode 12. Well, before we dive into our 4 stories today, just don't forget to follow the show wherever you're listening. If you enjoy what we're doing, please take like 1 minute to leave us a 5-star review. As an independent podcast, that is literally one of the best things you can do. It helps all of the major platforms push forward our podcast so we can get more listeners. And it just helps us to keep bringing people in so we can continue to bring more of these mysterious cases to you. If you've done all those things and you'd like to support us more, we have a Buy Me a Coffee link listed in the show notes. Please feel free to hop onto that. I am currently manifesting that we can buy these amazing, beautiful microphones. We need 2 of them. And we have a little bay window in our room. And I saw this setup the other day on a podcast where it was just 2 chairs with a little tiny circle coffee table between them. And they're talking into the microphones that are set up on the coffee table. I'm like, we could do that in our recording area, which is our bedroom, and just have it there permanently and never have to do this whole up and down setup. Da 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 da. So, and if we did that, then we could also bring it to YouTube as far as video recordings. So
But
I know Ben's really excited to get to that point.
no.
Some cases have answers.
Ours, they have theories, lots of them.
I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth. We're the host of Lesbian Detectives.
Every week, we pull apart true crime stories, cold cases, disappearance, murder, and dig into every possibility.
The official story, the whispered rumors, the evidence that doesn't quite fit. We follow the clues wherever they go, even if it means asking the questions nobody wants answered.
Because the truth isn't always in the files, sometimes it's in the theories,
Lesbian Detective.
where the truth is never straight.
New episodes every week, wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, Ben, you're going to get us started, right, with our 4 stories?
With all 4 stories?
Yeah, Ben's going to just tell all
Tell the whole thing.
by memory. And go.
I'll be done in about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna be real quick about it. All right, now, first story is gonna be a light story. The treasure of Skeleton Canyon. You ready? Hold on. All right. I gotta pull up my notes.
Do you want to give your disclaimer to the people?
Yes. So, disclaimer: I tried doing notes different this year.
This year?
This episode.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I'm trying to look at something and talk at the same time, and it doesn't go well for me. when
But
I
he
do that.
claims that he can read on his phone and listen to me at the same time.
I wasn't reading. I was looking at a map.
Oh, okay, fair.
So,
I still
2
don't
different
believe
things.
you.
So I tried doing notes a little different this episode. We will see how it goes, and if it bombs, well, so be it. It's our podcast. So, all right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So this is the story, like I said, of Skeleton Canyon. Supposedly there is a treasure there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a canyon that runs from Mexico into Arizona.
We're back in our neck of the woods
We
again
are.
this week.
It's
This is 2 weeks in a row, isn't it?
no.
No, I
think
guess we
it's
had one a couple weeks
episodes.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, at least I think so.
Mhm.
I honestly I can't remember.
Ben can't
This
remember.
all just blends together. All of this blends together. That's why I was looking on the map when you were trying to talk to me, and I was trying to get an idea of where this is. I've never been there. It's more on the eastern side of Arizona, near the New Mexico border. But supposedly this canyon runs from Mexico in to Arizona. It's along that, like I said, the New Mexico border. So supposedly there is a story of buried treasure in this canyon from 1880. Okay. And we get 3 people
Mm-hmm.
that are talking to us. And I'm going to introduce you to the 3. We got Hunter Pritchard, who he is like a head of some society. We talked about this.
We did talk about, and I think it was a
It was another
treasure
treasure.
episode where we
There's
could
these
just
societies that
people can just form
retired
societies for the
just go
funsies
be a
of it.
part of, and then they can be an expert. And then we get Robert Palmquist, who's a historian, a local historian. And then we get Fern Hamill, who is a treasure hunter. Okay. These are your 3 experts that we're going to get interviewed by. Hunter Pritchard tells us that he spent a night in Skeleton Canyon. Okay. And I wrote his, I wrote it, one of his quotes down because it's great. That when he's spending the night, he says something along the lines of, my hair never, it was always stood up the entire 24 hours he was there. And he says, I just had a second sense that there's something going on, too much to go on that went on here, not to be a treasure. So that's how we know the treasure is real, that you had like a second sense that
I
something
knew the moment
freaky
this
is
guy
going
started
on.
talking like that, Ben was going to be like, I have to take everything you say seriously.
Yeah,
from this
because
point.
well, his sixth sense or his second sense is what he calls it. There was something going on there that told him there's treasure here. So clearly, I have to believe that because that has always worked in history.
Could it just be that you were sleeping in the pitch black Arizona desert, like by yourself? I think I'd be freaked out the whole time.
No, it's
too.
because there was gold buried underneath this pillow, supposedly somewhere. Robert Palmquist, he's a historian. He's like, no, there's he's like, no, there's no treasure there. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And then Fern Hamill, he's a treasure hunter. He goes, it's a known fact that it's real. He says, this treasure is one that is real. He uses real twice to tell you that just because people say that things are real, that actually might not be real. But if you use real twice, that means it is real and you have to believe it.
The real,
Even though it's a known fact, even though he doesn't tell us how it's a known fact, he just says it's a known fact.
because he says real.
Because he said real twice.
Okay.
All right.
I believe him.
Okay. Now let's get into the story. Supposedly in 1881, there was a group of Mexican bandits who robbed and looted the town of Monterey. Okay. Supposedly they made out with
Monterey,
Mexico.
Okay.
Okay. And they'd stolen all this loot and they were going to smuggle it into the United States and I don't know, spend it here, maybe hide it.
Well, Tombstone happened in place back then. Maybe that's where they were trying to get to.
Maybe. So Jim Hughes, who was part of the Curly Bill Brocious gang, he goes.
That is an awesome name.
It is actually a pretty sweet name. He goes into Mexico. He speaks fluent Spanish.
Okay.
And he, rubs elbows with these guys. He hears about this. Like, oh, hey. And he makes it in. He infiltrates this.
He's accepted into
these banditos.
Okay.
Right? They tell him, hey, yeah, we got all this treasure. Because that's what usually bandits do after they rob. They just start telling people, especially strangers.
That didn't have anything to do with the robbery.
They start telling, hey, man, guess what? We got all this money and we're going to smuggle it. And hey, do you want to know our route? So they tell them the route. Hey, we're going to go through Skeleton Canyon.
Okay.
Don't come with us. Okay. We're just telling you.
You just stay here.
You stay here and we're going to take all this stuff.
Okay.
So what does Jim Hughes do? He goes back and he tells his
posse,
his gang.
Yeah.
And he says, guys, I got this in. I made good with this gang down there who's really awesome. And they stole all this money. And they're going to come through Skeleton Canyon.
And we're going to steal it
from
them. Okay.
Yeah. So The Bill Brocious gang, they wait for him in Skeleton Canyon. What do? They ambush him, start shooting him. Now yeah. And they're like, there's coins flying everywhere. There's people running around. And supposedly, I mean, in reality, if this is true, they committed a horrific act because they just slaughtered a bunch of people to rob them, right? And of course, here the mules, because there's so much loot, they got to put them on mules and take it through the canyon. Okay.
Did the mules make it out okay?
No, they had to shoot the mules
No,
because
that's where I'm at on this story.
they were afraid of the mules were going to run off with that stuff, and they couldn't. Clearly, they couldn't hop on their horses and chase the mules, so they had to shoot them. That makes sense, right? So now here we are. All this treasure, so much treasure, weighs all this. So what do we do? And
tossed
now we
to and
shot,
fro all over the
we
place.
shot these mules that were supposed to carry the treasure, and now we can't even carry it. So they divvy out some of it, and the rest of it that they can't carry. What do? What does everyone do
Why
when
would
they
they
get a
just
bunch of treasure?
Put a guide on the mules and walk with them.
That's a great question. Don't ask that question. Okay, that's.
But I've been shot for being like, "Hey boys, I have a great idea."
It's irrelevant.
Okay, relevant.
So they bury some of it because that's what everyone does
Dude,
back then.
what is with everyone that's like, "Hey, I've got all this gold.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just bury it."
I don't want to spend it. I want to bury it.
I will say I did hear in the now this is as historically accurate as I can say off the top of my head. The Donner Party did bury a lot of things because their hope was that they would be able to come back because they were so far behind, they were trying to shed weight, X, Y, or Z. And they buried things in hopes to be able to get to California and then turn around and come back and get it later.
Burying gold bars.
No, some of them were burying money and valuables that they were hoping to get back. But again, I don't know. Yeah.
But this is how every treasure story goes.
Yeah.
These guys, they steal it, they carry it somewhere, and then they bury it for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't take the money that they stole.
They according to this one, they took some of it.
Okay.
They head into town, Tombstone, Tucson, wherever, to spend it on.
You guys, if you don't know the history of Tombstone at the time,
it
was popping. It had like the most brothels and bars and like gambling like per capita in the like entire
Netflix did like
Wild West.
Netflix did a series on Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. And
yeah.
It was about a year
ago. So people going there to
good.
it was the Las Vegas of the South of the Wild Wild West.
It's really good. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you like that kind of stuff. And I love the Wild West stories and that. So I like these treasure stories. It's funny to see how serious some people take this stuff. But anyways, they bury it. But we got two guys in the gang. They double cross the gang. Billy Grounds and Zwing Hunt. Yeah. They decide, listen, we're going to head back. So supposedly they head back to take the rest of it.
They decide they can carry more, or they've dumped their load and then they're going back for more.
They get a Mexican Teamster.
Okay.
Guy with a
mule
and a carriage.
Okay.
To head in there.
Okay.
Okay. Supposedly then they kill him, unbury the treasure, put it on this thing.
But take those mules. Those ones are okay?
Yeah, or the wagon. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. They take the treasure. They hide out in a cave for months. Okay. Because they're afraid that their other guys from their gang are going to come looking for them. So they got to hide. So, so they got to do this. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes.
No, you're fine. I mean, here's the thing. We do know people hid in those caves there's caves all over this area, and they have found tons of evidence that people camped in them, stayed in them. There has been.
All right. So Billy, while he's in this cave, says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write letters to my sister. So he's writing letters to his sister.
The post office came by.
And supposedly there's some route along there, and he would ride out there and hand the letters to these people.
The mail guys?
I guess.
Yeah. The Pony Express.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he decides, listen, I'm going to send these letters to my sister. And in these letters, I think it's a good idea to tell her everything we did and where we buried the treasure. Because they then take it and then they bury it again. Because that makes sense, right? And then they hide in the cave. But they're hiding in the cave, but really close to where they buried it. Okay. Just so you know. It's all very important.
Okay.
Okay. Billy tells his sister all these details. So this is where we then get our friend Hamill. What did I say? Fern Hamill back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He says he has seen these letters, 9 of them,
Mm-hmm.
with his own eyes and has copies of them. Refuses to let Unsolved Mysteries see him or show it to them because treasure
But
hunters
they're
are very,
but they're real.
but they're real.
Mhm.
Okay. And I wrote down some of the things he said. He says like he's found all the clues. He literally says it. He has found all the clues that Billy had wrote in the letters that he's seen. And he says, when I once found the right place to look where everything fits and everything is there. He's found everything. But you know what he's not found?
The treasure.
The treasure. Yeah.
Mhm.
But he's found everything else.
Okay.
He found the cave. He found all these clues that these guys told of where the treasure is buried. He just hasn't quite found that treasure.
Mm-hmm.
That's shocking.
Probably
I'm
just
shocked by
10
all
more
of this.
feet below.
Probably. It's always
It's always two more
2 more
feet.
feet.
Yeah.
2 more feet. Then we get that Palmquist guy, the historian, back. And he actually brought up a good point. I thought it was funny. He's like,
I knew you would appreciate this.
he said, you're telling me this 19-year-old kid who'd come over from Texas just decides, hey, I'm going to start writing letters to my sister and telling her everything and drawing maps. Like, nah. And I'm like, valid point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me get back to my notes here. They hide in the cave. He writes to the sister. Supposedly, the sister later on went out with another man and lived out there in the desert for 2 years looking for this treasure that her
Word
brother had said
has.
he'd buried. And they know that because they found a.
Imagine living out in the desert
No.
with me for 2 years.
With you? No, definitely not. And I love you, but we wouldn't last 2 years.
We wouldn't last 2 days.
And 2 years in the Arizona desert.
That's here's the thing. I don't even know if I believe that story.
Well, yeah, but the only reason they believe it is because supposedly they found a vase that says it has the name Maggie on it, and supposedly that was the sister of Billy.
I would love to know how common the name Maggie was back then.
I don't know.
And who takes a vase with them when they're out camping?
That was the other question I had, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you're planning on living there for a long time, you take it as much as possible. I don't know. All right. 1882, our story takes a turn. Billy and what did I say the other? Zwing Hunt.
Swing.
They get in a shootout with a sheriff and a posse, and Billy is killed. Hunt is wounded pretty bad. He supposedly is laying in his bed, think he's going to die, confesses to his uncle, yes, hey, we got this treasure. And he draws a map for his uncle. Fern, he's also seen the map. Our treasure hunter, he's also seen this map. He won't show it to us.
Real though.
It's real. He's seen it. Won't show it to us. Won't tell us anything
Hunters
about it.
are a different breed.
They really are. And here's the thing. I can respect it. I got nothing against treasure. I got nothing against treasure
I'm weirdly into rock hounding. And here's the thing. I'm very amateur. I do not go out to, but if I'm like vacationing somewhere doing something, I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I just assumed that this was like a loving, welcoming community. And you could say, hey, where's a good place to go look for it? Like these Arizona diamonds are up in Payson. They're just like, they're not diamonds. They're just called that. I don't have time to explain the science behind that. But I asked in a group of like 20,000 people on Facebook, hey, we're going to be up there. Is there a good place to go look for these? I assumed I would get feedback.
No.
I had so many a-hole trolls that were like, how, like, you do not apparently, people are like highly, real. I have the best place. Here's pictures of all of the things I have found in this area for 20 years. There seems to be an ample supply of these Arizona diamonds, but no, I shalt not tell you anywhere around there where to go. Like they are so cutthroat and top secret about it. I think the fishing community is the same way, and the hunting community. Like if you feel like you found like,
Your honey hole?
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, that's what it's like, a whole thing with treasure people too. And I don't understand it.
All right. Anyways, supposedly he draws his uncle a map. Fern's seen it. Can't tell you. He's flying around in a helicopter looking for this. We get video of him looking. He says it's real. Supposedly there was an earthquake in 1886, so they think that has buried the treasure deeper.
2 more feet.
He says he thinks it's at least 20 feet deep.
Ooh.
So,
Aggressive.
anyways, that's pretty much where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
I did like the part from the historian that said, what about the accuracy of the town in Mexico that was robbed, supposedly?
Yeah, so he does come back and he says, listen, I don't think this is real. He goes, maybe there was. He goes, but he does say the first reports from the Mexican government at that time was, yeah, there was a looting in that, but the treasure did not. It's not as big as what it said. Because the rumors of this treasure is that it's worth anywhere between $2.5 million to $8 million. Okay. So, but the historian is saying
there's nowhere near
there's
that.
no evidence of that. The reporting wasn't that much was stolen. Listen, at the end,
he doesn't even think there was enough stolen that they would have had even anything really to bury.
Yeah.
That they would have had enough to get them to the next thing. Yeah.
Spent it wherever they wanted to spend it and then
go on to the next. Way. Yeah.
So I thought that was a good point. Again, at the end of the day, it's another treasure story, which that's all these stories are, is they're legends passed on from generation to generation. And that was the one thing the historian says, like, we actually never have real legitimate. It's always 2 steps removed from the original. You never get to see the documents. You never get to see the map.
It's a game of telephone for sure.
Yeah. And so.
All right. Any updates? Has anyone found this?
So yeah, I have looked. I looked even for our treasure hunter Fern Hamill. He was actually a resident at Tucson. Passed away in 2011 at the age of 94.
Wow.
He was not just a treasure hunter. He was very much in the community.
He really enjoyed the history of this area.
Yeah, and I respect that. I got nothing. Here's the thing. Treasure hunters, knock yourself out, man. I think it's great. I think it's a cool hobby. It's fun. It's fun to tell tales and things. I'm not even saying it's a lie. I have no idea. But it's fun to continue to pass these stories on. Just don't become so obsessed with it. It did not appear that.
No, we've seen other people who leave their families.
I thought it was fun.
Go into debt to do this.
I thought it was fun to hear him, his living here locally and looking at it.
Yeah.
He even says at the end, listen, like, I'm going to keep looking for this till I find it.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, there's this supposed treasure's never been found. They do believe, I guess I think they continue to find bones and coins in that canyon that makes them think that treasure is real, but it is a canyon between Mexico and the U.S.
that a lot of people probably use to travel and traverse, and probably not the most upstanding people. Yeah. So,
but who knows? At the end of the day, it's still a legend.
It does look like a really pretty area. I wouldn't mind going and trying to hike some of that if there's any sort of national forestry or park area, because it did look very beautiful.
It did look pretty. So that's what I was looking at the map of it, but that's it. No updates. No treasure's not been found.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's a treasure down in Tombstone, between Tombstone and New Mexico. Good luck, everybody. All right. We're going to take it down just a little bit. And I'm going to tell you a story about a woman that we only know her by her name, Debbie. I'll be up front with you guys from the beginning. We never know her full name. So I will refer to her as Debbie. If there is anything that anyone knows that any reporting has changed this information, please let me know and I will do a little thing about it. Because we've had this before where people have been anonymous on Unsolved Mysteries and then later have come out with more information and wanting their story shared with their name. So on the afternoon of March 22nd, 1990, two state troopers, Chris and Ron, are parked alongside Route 95, just outside of Fayetteville, North Carolina. They had pulled over to compare notes during a routine patrol when something unexpected happened. Out of the woods, about 75 yards in front of them, a woman appears. She walked, staggering towards them, covered in blood. Trooper Knight went on to say, I wrote down the quote, she walked out of the woods, staggering. She had blood on her shoulders and it was coming in our direction.
I'm just saying. First off,
Yeah.
this is me and my belief.
Mm-hmm.
The chances that two police officers just happened to be parked on that spot on
Yeah.
the interstate
Yeah.
for her to then be able to come out and
Mm-hmm.
stumble into them where they are the people. That's the thing. There's no cell phones there.
Mm-mm.
If it was just a
Yeah, this was
citizen.
1990. Yeah.
But guess what police officers have? A radio.
Radio.
To be able to call medics immediately.
Yeah.
No, I mean, still, whatever happened.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself is a miracle. But also, can you imagine sitting there?
No.
You've been in your patrol ride before. You imagine just sitting there and having someone covered in blood staggering towards you?
It's wild.
Yeah. As the troopers got out of their vehicle, they ran towards her. She actually collapses on the ground. Knight is able to stay with her while the other trooper radios in for an ambulance. The woman is rushed to a local hospital where they figure out that she had been shot in the face with a 12-gauge shotgun.
I thought it said it was a double barrel.
Yeah, it might have. Yeah.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. A shotgun
That's
to the face.
Yeah.
That is wild.
The entire left side of her jaw is shattered. She's got no teeth. Literally, like her lower part of her mouth is just hanging out.
Poor lady.
Yeah. She didn't have any identification on her and obviously couldn't speak. It wasn't for till at least 10 hours later when her condition finally stabilized that she was able to write out her mother's name and phone number on a small piece of paper. Police learned that she was 43-year-old secretary from Winston-Salem, which would be my dream place to live, about 120 miles away. And this is where we find out that her name is not Debbie and that she's asked. From my understanding, what I'm gathering, my assumption is that this has permanently disfigured this woman's face.
Yeah.
And it was something, because her sister's interviewed, and we'll kind of go over that later on. I think as a woman, she was struggling with everything else, but that was just one extra layer of trauma on top of that. And so we find out that she has asked to be referred to as Debbie, and she's interviewed, but she's done so in shadow. You cannot see her. Detective Ken Bishop from Winston-Salem worked along with the case alongside the Fayette investigators. He recalls that the doctors pulled him aside before he went in to talk to her in the hospital, how shocking her appearance was in order to minimize his reaction. And he tells us, quote, "It was probably the most severe injury I had ever seen and had a person survive." That should tell you how aggressive this was. Yeah.
I did notice that quote. Mm-hmm. That he's like, yeah, that was the worst I'd seen. Someone lived.
Yeah.
Be able to live to tell the tale.
Despite her injuries, Debbie was able to write out in detail description of her attacker and even worked with a sketch artist to create a drawing. So, what happened? How did we get here? Because she's nowhere near her hometown. 9:40 in the morning, Debbie left the First Union Bank in Winston-Salem after making a large cash withdrawal. As she gets into her gray station wagon, a man carrying a shotgun slips into the passenger seat and forces her to drive. I just have this crazy fear of people getting into I had this almost happen one time at a drive-through. I was maybe 17 or 18 years old, and I was at the Jack in the Box in Roseburg, Oregon, which is right next to like a really big, busy street. And I had gotten into the habit because I worked late at night of like locking my doors. And I can't even remember. I don't think my car at the time had the automatic. Back in the day, you had to like manually lock. And so my car was usually locked in all of the other doors except for my driver's seat. And I was in the parking lot. It was late. I must have been coming home from somewhere. So it was probably after 10:30 at night. And some man walked in my peripheral vision where I couldn't see and tried to open up both the back passenger door and the passenger front door. And
Yeah.
no cell phone, like terrifying. And so I'm really crazy about locking all of my doors, but
You remember the guy that did it at the mini mart here?
no.
We were parked at the mini mart here, little gas station.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember if you were driving or in the passenger seat. I think you were in the passenger seat. I stopped to put air in the tire. So I was bent down on the other side of the vehicle.
Oh,
putting air
yes.
in the tire. And you started yelling at me. And I stood up. And there was a man trying to enter the back of our vehicle on the other side where I was at.
Yeah.
And he opened the door, and our kids were little. They were
Yeah.
in car seats,
Mm-hmm.
and they were back there.
Yeah.
And I started yelling, and
Once he saw you.
I got physical with him.
Yeah.
I literally grabbed him by the collar and chucked him.
Yeah.
And started yelling at him.
And he never even like answered you.
No, he just looked at me, and I still to this day don't know what his plan was or what.
I'm glad we don't know what his plan was. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so he gets into the car, forces her to drive. First stop was a liquor store just a few miles away. The man held onto her car keys and warned her that if she tries to get attention or do anything, he was going to kill everybody inside inside the liquor store. He goes in, he buys whiskey, returns to the vehicle. From there, he orders Debbie, excuse me, I just bought my mic, to get on Interstate 40, heading east. For the next 4 hours, he makes her drive towards Fayetteville, drinking heavily, bragging about how he's killed a man in New York, and is continuing to get more aggressive and angry as the trip goes on. He'd stay silent at times, and then other times he would rage and was like physically abusing Debbie as she's driving. Debbie wrote down on a piece of there's literally no reasoning with him. His behavior was irrational. About 3 miles north of Fayetteville, the man forces Debbie to pull off the road. In a desperate moment, she does try to escape, running deeper into the woods. And actually, Trooper Ron had spotted that car pulled over earlier.
Yeah, he did see this. He didn't see her running.
He didn't see her running, but he just sees an abandoned car on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And he actually had planned to go check it out. But a speeding car flew past him, and so that became the priority, right? Because that's the immediate danger, as much information as he has. Meanwhile, Debbie's attacker catches up with her into the woods. This is like every horror film we've ever watched.
Yeah.
Beats her up, sexually assaults her, and shoots her in the face, leaving her for dead.
This is just terrible.
Miraculously, she survives. The next day, Debbie's station wagon is found abandoned 300 miles away near Hamilton County, Florida, just south of the Georgia border. Investigators researching the Fayetteville crime scene recovered a dark blue pea jacket, and a brown clothed gloves, both of them smelling strongly of petroleum, which is a very distinct smell.
Yeah.
Detectives believe that the attacker may have been a mechanic or someone who worked with motors, or possibly a driver of a heating oil or fuel truck. Later, Debbie gives authorities a detailed description of the man. He's an African-American male, mid-30s, 5'6" to 5'10", 150, 160 pounds, close cropped hair. On the day of the attack, he was wearing a blue short sleeve button-up shirt, faded jeans, and an off-white baseball cap. Despite the brutal assault, Debbie displays an extraordinary resilience after she'd have multiple reconstructive surgeries.
I imagine.
Mm-hmm. She hyper focuses on just trying to rebuild her life, but she makes it very clear on Unsolved Mysteries that she will never feel safe.
Yeah.
She's always looking around.
How could you?
Yeah. Until she knows that this man is caught. In her own words, I wrote down, I'm going to continuously feel like he's out there and he might also hurt somebody else.
What a terrible story.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leaves us. You ready for your update?
Please give me a good update on this.
Nope.
I
To
figured.
date, this case remains unsolved. There is a lot of public forums talking about this case, wanting to know. There was, from the understanding, Unsolved Mysteries loots that there was biological evidence left behind. I don't know if and or why that has not been tested against the national database. I understand very little about that world, and I understand it is a very expensive, and a lot of times, unless it has a lot of heat on it or light being brought to it, that, you know, they're not just always pulling cold cases.
They're not always taking cold case evidence and running
it, yeah.
Database.
So there is a big push on several of these forums to try to see if they can identify it through that, or even potentially at least get a DNA sourced, and then even through maybe familiar DNA to be able to at least put a name to this person. There is another small speculation. There was another man, and of course I forgot to write down his name, that was convicted of very similar crimes in the area that he was ended up, I think, being convicted of murder. And there is a lot of theories and beliefs that it may have been the same man, but again, he never confessed to anything. They weren't ever able to tie it directly to him. And again, that DNA hasn't been tested as far as my knowledge. Anything I could find was that biological evidence has never been used. So there you go. That is the story of Debbie.
It was a terrible story.
Yes.
But at the same time, this lady's pretty resilient.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty incredible. She lived to tell it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wild.
Yeah. All right, Ben. What do you have?
I have a weird one.
It is a very interesting story.
It's, yeah.
We're gonna go over to the islands. It's always hard when we, like, I want to be like, I know that these islands are not international, but there is something to be said about trying to source material from something that doesn't happen like within the continental US.
Yeah.
It makes it very tricky.
So,
all right.
Keep talking.
You want me just to improv?
No. We'll cut this out.
We will cut this out, or your wife will cut this out. Yeah, she will. She'll just take care of it, huh?
All right. All right. We've got the story. This one takes place in the Virgin Islands. So St. Crux in the Virgin Islands. And this is multiple deaths that are very similar.
Yeah, I mean, they are exactly similar.
So the Unsolved Mysteries starts telling us that the night, November 18th, 1988, Police respond to just a minor car accident. That was what they think,
Mm-hmm.
right? When they show up, there's Radha uh, Maharji.
Mm-hmm.
She is injured in the car. Clearly, something's going on. They don't know what's going on. There's no physical injuries. So, obviously they get an ambulance. They start sending her to the hospital. On the way, she dies.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a tragedy. But then an hour later, 16 miles away, her husband, Krishnadad, is found lying on the side of the road, dead.
Yep.
Very strange. Two strange things about it is uh, Radha and Krishnada, both their clothes are soaked in seawater.
Yes.
So, and supposedly they had $25,000 in cash, and that is missing. So, come to find out, after they do their autopsies and that, both of them have died from cyanide poisoning.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So we learn that Radha and Kirshnadad they were running a grocery store on the island, and their daughters are interviewed. At least it's Radha's daughters from her previous marriage. They're interviewed, and they say, like, listen, they were doing fine, things were good, whatever. But they had taken out supposedly a couple months prior a loan to expand their grocery store.
Didn't
So
they want to turn it in? They wanted to add like a bar or a little restaurant or something to it. I can't. They didn't say. Okay.
That's the other couple.
That's the other
They
couple.
ran a
Okay.
bar.
I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. So they'd taken out this loan.
Mm-hmm.
And let me put this to the people here.
Okay.
The way Unsolved Mysteries tells this story is very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do a good job on this. And they just say things without any like backing. So because and I'll tell you why. Because so they'd taken out this loan, and then they were supposedly getting phone calls on a regular basis from a mysterious man. And then they went, for some reason, and borrowed $25,000 from family and friends. And
On top of the loan.
yes.
Okay.
I had to look at this multiple times because, again, it doesn't make any
Yeah.
nothing about this. I'm going to tell the story, but there's a lot about this that doesn't make any sense. So they borrow this $25,000, and supposedly they're getting phone calls from this man, and they're going to go meet this man and give him the money, at least according to the daughters. Now, this is where this man comes into play. Police believe, that he has some ties to voodoo or
Voodoo, hoodoo, you do. What's that movie? What's that song from?
I have no idea,
Labyrinth.
or Oba.
Ova. Is
Yeah.
that the name of the
That's
style
what
of voodoo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong. And let me make this very clear. I know nothing about this stuff, so I'm not even going to try to speak as someone.
I know
who knows.
very little about it, but I do
even
know
Robert
that
Stack-
there is like several different kinds of voodoo.
Yeah. Even Robert Stack comes back to tell us, listen, voodoo is misunderstood. It's actually a religion and that, but
It's a spiritual practice in that part of the world.
yes.
And then there are other parts of the world where it is considered more
where people
dark.
take like a turn of it, and there's
So it's like this one movie I saw
I doubt this.
where there's the light and the dark side, but the power is like people can move things with their hands and their minds and stuff. And if you stay on the light side, things are good. But if you use your powers on the dark side, you end up in a black suit controlling a giant starship in the sky.
I refuse to take anything you're saying.
So it's kind of like unto that.
No, I don't think that you are telling. You're trying to talk about Star Wars. refuse to acknowledge.
Star Wars and any other thing where it's like, hey, this is good unless you decide to use it the bad way, and then it becomes bad. But yeah, I know very little about voodoo. The only things I know about it are just some things from the South. Here, it's a big thing in the culture here in the South. But again, that's even different than the voodoo in this part of the world.
Here's the thing. The police say they think it's tied to this.
It's a
but
spiritual religious practice. Yeah.
Zero reason of why they think it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you what Unsolved Mysteries
Okay,
told us.
continue.
How this is tied to some type of, they call them the Obi Man, voodoo. I don't know.
Okay.
And So anyways, like I said, they'd borrow the $25,000. They'd been getting calls from this guy. On the night of November 18th, around 7:30, Rada had left the house and drove in a direction. The daughters thought that was really weird because she usually doesn't leave the house after dark and go by herself. So 30 minutes later, Kirshnada, the dad, he gets in his truck and drives the opposite direction. An hour later, they're both pretty much found dead with their clothes soaked in seawater.
That is weird.
At first, police thought maybe they committed
Taking their own
suicide,
lives. Yeah.
but then come to find out, they died from cyanide poisoning, so they have no idea. So then that leads us to our second story, which is very familiar to this. 2 years earlier, 1986, another couple, Edsel Stryden and Carmen Torres, died in almost the same way.
Exactly the same fashion, you guys.
One night on September 13th, they get in their truck and they drive away, left their home, and supposedly they owned a little
Restaurant or bar, grill,
bar by the beach. And
goals.
They had they'd taken out a loan, and all they say in Unsolved Mysteries is they turned that loan into cash. That was the word they used. I don't know. So supposedly they had $54,000 in cash.
It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Especially for that area and that time.
In that time.
Yeah.
Right? So that night, September 13th, they drive to then. Carmen was found dead near the beach, not actually too far from where Rada had been
in the
discovered.
Vehicle as well, right?
No, she's near the beach.
Okay.
Okay. And then Edsel is found in his truck nearby. Both died from cyanide poisoning, and both of their clothes are soaked with seawater. Their daughter or a family member does say that supposedly before they left, Edsel had taken like a little cylinder and put it in his pocket of like, something to drink. I don't know.
A cylinder, like a little pill capsule thing?
I don't know. Yeah. They don't say exactly what it is. There's a lot of I don't know, I'm going to say here, because I'm literally just telling you what, like I said.
And if you guys can't tell, Ben is very A-type. So he does not speculate. If I was telling the story, I would have told it super differently, and not for bad or for good. I just always enjoy your take on things because, yes, I would have filled in with the assumptions, and you were like, hey, we don't know what was in that. We don't have any documentation. We don't know X, Y, or Z.
Well, and I have a problem. I do have a problem with this because people say, oh, we believe it's tied to this. How? How so? Like, give me the things that led you to believe to that. They say it's tied to voodoo. Why? Why do you believe that? What evidence is there? Just because a man is calling you guys took out a loan. How's that tied to voodoo? And here's the thing. I do think that the police probably know more than what they're telling the public. I always do. But you also...
But you would like to know where at least the lines are being drawn.
Members that are saying this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but then why?
Yeah.
I am just that type of person. Like, do not make a statement unless you can...
Tell me, back it up why. Yeah.
Or at least answer some of my questions of why.
Okay. Fair.
And I'm a little frustrated because this story was very frustrating because they say these things. There are facts, but there's also a lot of other things. And I need details. And I like details and timelines. And there's not a lot of that
Yeah.
in this story. I do find it odd. All four of these people now have died from cyanide and their clothes being soaked in seawater. That is weird. Especially
Yeah.
the
If
first,
I was a detective, those things would all be tied together. But how they get from that to voodoo practice, we are missing that piece of the
there's a
puzzle.
massive
Mhm.
hole in this. And
Yeah.
I want to know fill some of this hole with.
Yeah. Okay.
Because even like the first guy that died, he was on the side of the road,
Mm-hmm.
right? He didn't have a shirt on, he didn't leave that way, according to.
Yeah, and
those
I
laws.
honestly don't know what the
And why
side
are they
effects of
separated?
cyanide poisoning, and that both these people are separated. Yeah,
Yeah.
or all four of these people. Yeah.
So that's these other two people that passed away from cyanide poisoning. So that also then leads us to 2 years before that, a 38-year-old man by Gilby, Heg Caesar. Heg Gilby Caesar was found dead in his car. He supposedly, his car is pulled off the side of the road and police arrive and he'd been dead for several hours. Come to find out, he died from cyanide poisoning. Investigators start looking into it. Again, they believe it's tied to voodoo. Supposedly, he'd been talking to a man. We get interviewed by his wife. She clearly is ticked. When she's talking, she's
She is
ticked.
fired up. Yep.
Yeah. Because Heg he had taken out $100,000
Mm-hmm.
without her knowledge. Whoa.
Yeah.
And supposedly had given it to someone.
Yep.
They tell us that supposedly he had been meeting with a guy who told him that gold was buried on his property in jars, but it was being protected by spirits. And that there was this ritual in a potion that you drank, in a ritual you did to get rid of the spirits so that he could then dig up the gold on his property.
He'd be able to find the gold and dig it up. Yeah.
Yeah. But he couldn't do that until he came up with the money.
Mm-hmm.
Comes up with $100,000.
This reminds me of the psychic that said she could get rid of the bad things in your life.
The lady, the mom and her daughter.
Mom and her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a scam, right?
Yeah.
So supposedly he came up with the money. This guy gave him the potion, turned out to be cyanide, and he's then found.
But again, that's
dead.
the assumption.
No one tells us how they know his connection to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have no idea. Because
Because it's the wife that tells us that story, right? No, it's the police.
She tells us supposedly this. She didn't even know this was going on.
Yeah.
She even says, I thought my husband would have been smarter than to fall for something like that.
Oh, that is so hard. And it cost him his life. And now she's stuck with this information and this debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, so those are 5 people in the span of like
On a
5-6
small
years.
little island. These are not highly populated places.
No, have died from cyanide poisoning.
Okay.
So, what happened? Why are they so similar? Who is this man? We get a description. Supposedly he's been seen in the States. He speaks with a very French West Indian accent. That's really all I get.
Yeah.
Supposedly, right? So if you know anything,
Please call.
please call. That's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
All right. I can tell by your
There's no
body language. Yeah.
There's no update. And a lot of the reasons why there's no update is because this happened in the Virgin Islands. You're not going to get a lot of information coming out of there. I read a couple articles on this, but pretty much every article written on it is from the Unsolved Mysteries episode. There has been nothing crazy. I looked into to see if there had been
any more deaths?
Cyanide poisonings coming out of that area. Nothing that I could find.
Okay.
Any more that came out of there, at least in that time frame. I could have missed something, but I couldn't find anything.
So is the prevailing theory from this, at least from the angle of Unsolved Mysteries, is that somehow a man pretending to have a connection with voodooism was somehow scamming people to give him money and then
type of potion.
for some type of potion and ritual.
And
And
then-
maybe that varied on what it was
and-
between each person's circumstances. And then instead of performing this ritual and this potion and getting the money afterwards, he would steal the money from them by ending their lives and not being held accountable to why whatever they were looking for
Yeah,
didn't
so
come to fruition.
that was one of the problems I had with this story and the way Unsolved Mysteries told it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You get the story of the first 4 people
Mhm.
that died from cyanide poisoning and money missing. And if you just took those stories, it would appear that they were robbed and poisoned. Then you get the first guy, technically the
But they had
first
all
one.
taken out a loan.
Those 2 had taken out a loan on their business. The other guy,
But I
just
mean, they
taken
had
out his
all
purse.
taken out some sort
Yes.
of.
But what I'm saying is, if you were just told those stories, you would
Mm.
it would appear that they'd taken out a loan and they died from cyanide poisoning and robbed. It's only the first guy that they tell you this story of buried treasure, a man asking for money, and spirits protecting it, and where he can then overcome that. What I'm saying is, the first guy is the only guy you hear about this scam going on.
Okay.
They never talk to you about how these other 4 people might have gotten involved in this scam,
Okay.
in some type of religious scam or voodoo scam or obi scam, whatever
Mhm.
that is. All they say is they had money. They took out a loan. The first couple or the last couple that passed was getting mysterious calls that I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we don't know what that means. Were they aggressive or
Here's
were
the
they
thing.
communicating
I
with somebody?
agree with him. Probably the same guy's responsible for all of this. So I
Yeah.
can see where they're saying, hey, it might be linked.
Yeah.
He might have run the scam. They just don't.
Tell us how they
don't
got to
tell
that.
us. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Someone was going around. He killed 5 people with cyanide
Mm-hmm.
and robbed them of a lot of.
That's a lot of money.
So,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, there's no update on if he was ever caught.
Or if you're like most scam artists, once they kind of start to realize the heat's on, they go somewhere else and
This is-
they
And
start a new scam.
yeah, and it's very different than those 2 ladies, because those ladies, yes, they scam people out of money.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't kill them after.
No, they did not.
I mean, this guy's scamming, and then to really kind of clear the way, he kills them in
Yeah.
a pretty horrific way.
Yep.
So, evil dude, but unfortunately,
We know nothing.
we know nothing, and it appears, at least there was no news that he got caught.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you a story about a woman that I will call Dorothea Allen. On a gray January day in 1990, in the quiet English village, I'm going to tell you honestly, after living in Tucson, Arizona for so long, the thought of living in a tiny little village in England where it's gray and rainy and foggy and miserable looking to most people, that sounds like a dream come true. I will take that.
He's only saying because it's the end of summer, and Sierra's ready for summer to be over because it has been hot for months on end.
Yeah, if it's the opposite where it's in England where it's just only sunny 3 months out of the year, I'm ready for that. So
in like a month, it's going to be.
if anyone
sunny
would
and
like to
75 here.
sponsor the Unsolved Couple to move to a tiny little village in England and live in your family home, I will be there immediately. But this is Sutton under Brails. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. An elderly woman named Dorothea Allen is laid to rest. She's 89 years old, and despite being the wealthiest resident in the county, and having been rumored to dance with Fred Astaire and dine with Gary Cooper, only 5 people show up to her funeral. Which again goes to show that money does not always mean that you end up happy and fulfilled. Her story is going to definitely throw some wrenches or like prove, I guess, the point that life can sometimes be stranger than fiction. There's sometimes we read these stories on Unsolved Mysteries to you, and I think if I wrote this into a book or a script or a movie, people would hate it because they would think, oh my gosh, this is so unbelievable that this wouldn't happen in real life.
Yeah.
And this could kind of, I could see being one of those that you're like, but Dorothea lived a wild life. In her prime, she was considered to be a great beauty. For the record, when I pass away, I do want someone to be like, in the prime of her life, Sierra was considered to be one of the great beauties of the world. Okay.
That's what they already say.
I just am like, how beautiful do you have to be to get that to be noted? Either that or how wealthy, I guess, do you have to be for that to be noted in the end of your life? She was married to a man named Robert Langwell Allen, and together they built a fortune. To a lot of people, Dorothea was glamorous and refined and hobnobbing with movie stars and traveling the world. However, to a lot of other people, she was cruel, erratic, woman who mistreated employees and hoarded her wealth. When she died, she left behind a $4 million estate and no will. So, who did she want this money left to? That's the mystery here. Investigators signed her case soon realized that Dorothea spent her final years deliberately erasing her past inside her vast estate known as the Sutton Manor. I should have looked up if you could still visit this place today. They discovered that her passport had all of the major pages of information ripped out of them. They found photo albums where the faces of people had been cut out, and even pictures of herself and her late husband had been ripped to shreds. So one of the investigators tells us that, what did I write down here? Dorothea seemed determined to obliterate any trace of who she had been. Upstairs, her dressing rooms were filled with expensive clothes and shoes and evidence of a woman who once indulged in luxury, but her origins completely hidden away. So who is Dorothea Allen? This is kind of what we know. Dorothea and Robert made their fortune in the corset business. Their company took plain surgical corsets and added frills, lace, ribbons, turning them into fashionable garments and sold them by the thousands. Dorothea was known for perfectionism, counting stitches to the inch and demanding absolute precision from her workers. I'm sure she demanded a lot and paid very little. She was also remembered as a tyrant. The former staff people described her as harsh and dismissive, forcing employees to back out of her office without turning their backs to her. She made them back out of the office because she didn't feel that they had the right to turn their back on her.
Here's my only thing on this story.
No, we've all worked for people like this.
You're getting all the negative you get from is that one lady. And I don't know where she comes from. Wasn't the investigator.
No, I think it was a local historian.
Yeah, and she clearly did not like this lady. She told you of every bad thing. And here's the thing, I'm not saying it ain't true.
I'll tell you what, we're studying this time era right now in history, and it didn't seem like a lot of people who ran businesses were always the nicest to their employees.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of this sounds exactly like what we saw from a lot of other very well-off high society people. Okay. So this was another story, is that at the Christmas office parties or whatever, the gatherings, she roped off spaces so that she and Robert would be set apart like royalty, and only select employees were allowed to come up and wish them a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you had to have met some type of quota to be able to talk to them. It was one to get invited, but then it was another level to just be able to talk to them. And that story,
I would have not lasted in a business like this. I can't keep my mouth shut.
These types of businesses could not run
today.
in a day.
I mean, they still do. You have, there's some major documentaries about some insane behavior, but yeah.
If there was someone running a Christmas party where they roped off and you had to be a certain employee to even talk to them, that would be all over social media right away. Those people would be ousted.
Do you remember
So-
Forever Young?
Yeah.
This is what the man and wife that ran that business, this is them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was one of the higher employees, and without like getting myself potentially into trouble, the wife that was in charge of this and bought luxury gifts for the employees and X, Y, or Z, we were invited to like parties and events by invitation only. And like your standard employees were not allowed to approach those two and talk to them.
Yeah. I mean, that story, I
laugh because I've worked with people like this, 100%.
Could I see someone do it? Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it sounds like she wasn't the most pleasant person to be employed by. So despite her coldness, though, Dorothea was known to be deeply devoted to Robert. When he died in 1965 after a long illness, she kind of breaks. She reportedly lit his cigars and left them in the hallway burning just to be able to feel like his presence was still in the house. Upon his death, she grows reclusive and eventually cutting off nearly all contact with the outside world.
Makes me sad.
Yeah.
But maybe if she'd made
maybe she should have read A Christmas Carol.
Or maybe if she'd made good relationships outside, it would have helped heal that. But.
So an investigator digs into her past and fragments start to appear. A small...
Whoa. Time out.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
There's a picture. She didn't allow a lot of people to take her photos, but they do show a picture where she was at they said a public event or doing something where photographers were invited to, or she didn't have that say no pictures taken. And we see a picture of her and she is traveling in luxury upon what, Ben?
The Queen Mary.
The Queen Mary. That is a callback to, I think, episode... It's in our first 2 or 3 episodes.
It's in the first few.
It's our very first ghost story.
The haunted ghost
The haunted ghost ship that's still docked to this day.
Docked in
California. And you can stay there at the hotel. That is the Unsolved Mysteries episode with the little wet feet coming ding, 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 ding across the pool deck.
And the banging in the boiler room.
Yep. Maybe her husband left England and is haunting that place now. Maybe she's haunting that place now because she's mad that her picture got taken there.
But I just thought it was awesome they mentioned that she traveled on the Queen
Mary. Queen Mary. It all comes back to Unsolved Mysteries.
All right, sorry.
You're fine. So they do find a smallpox vaccination certificate that listed her birthday as January 21st, 1901, under the name Fergan Henderson. She even told a friend of hers that was her maiden name and that she had been born in Scotland. But we learned very quickly that nothing like that existed. No one with that name, no one with that birth. There's no records of that one with even that last name. So it just kind of becomes another red herring that for some reason she had. Other theories start to circulate. Some claim that she might have been born in Berlin and raised in Berlin, or that even she and Robert were secretly siblings rather than husband and wife.
That one was strange.
I know. But I mean, here's the thing. When you have nothing, you have to wonder why someone who started a business and was actually a part of society in a lot of ways went to such great lengths to erase who she was previous to her adult life.
You're trying to rationalize this lady, but they said he passes. They tell us that she gets in an accident and literally then stays in her house for 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years of sitting in a house by yourself. No one's right in their mind.
No.
So I don't know. I don't think we can understand why she did what she did. And to say, well, she probably did it because they were brother and sister. I'm I don't know if I'm buying that.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing. They don't have anywhere to go. There's nothing that leads them in any direction. So by the early 1990s, the trail just kind of goes cold. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. If they don't figure this out, there's a certain time frame at which the wealth will be basically returned to England.
And that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. They'd like to find the heirs so that they can at least get the money to the right people.
All right.
Okay.
Update.
In 1995, a breakthrough happens. A former wartime pilot saw Dorothea's photo in a newspaper and recognized her. She wasn't Dorothea Allen. She wasn't even Dorothea at all, but she was Dora Brommer, born January 21st, 1895, in Sheffield, England. Her parents, her dad was a steel worker, and his name was Amos, and it sounds like her mom was just a housewife. Her name was Emily. Investigators confirmed the identity with a hair sample from her home, and the Brommer family history explained some of her secrecy. Dora had fallen in love with Robert Allen in the 1920s, but he was married and unable to divorce his wife.
Interesting. What happened to his wife then?
Robert lived with Dorothea as though she was his wife, but legally they were never married. Seems like he just pieced out on his ex-wife.
So he just left her.
Mm-hmm. So to hide the scandal, she took his surname and buried the truth of her background.
So that makes more sense, though, the reason she buried her past, because even at that stage in life, people don't want their past.
Well, and she was
out.
hobnobbing with the upper echelons of society, and she came from like a factory worker too. She was like in the poor circle, right? She was in the bottom of society. And then not only that, but she affaired her way into wealth. Yeah.
And she, even in death, she didn't want her, reputation out there.
Well, and one of the guys interviewed says she was very adamant about that she had all this money, but everyone that she associated with was also wealthy. So they didn't deserve any of her money. She didn't seem like a pleasant woman, but she lived with a man who was married to somebody else, never had children, and it just kind of never seemed fulfilled in anything she ever did. So when her true identity is fully uncovered, investigators are actually able to locate more than 70 relatives. Descendants of Dora's extended family each inherited a portion of her fortune, roughly around $40,000. Dude, why can't this ever happen to me? Some weird, obscure family member dies and leaves me money.
I'm still waiting for it.
I'm still waiting for it too. Okay. So there you go.
Unsolved Mysteries, Season 3, Episode 12.
Yep. If you guys would like to, you are welcome to exit stage right. And I will end our podcast traditionally, as we always do, by asking Ben a question. So this one actually comes from one of our viewers. Podcast friends, listeners.
Mm-hmm. You don't view the podcast, you listen to
No, we're hoping to get to the point where we do view the podcast.
You're hoping. I'm not.
Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick. Sorry. Okay. There we go. That was my voice in my podcast talking on my social media. Okay. So this is Ralph and Patrice, which I'm guessing it's Patrice. B-E. I don't think Ralph is listening to us. Maybe.
I think it was Ralph.
You think it was Ralph? Okay. So
you know what? I like that name.
Ralph?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay, good.
We should rename our son that.
We are not going to do that. Big fight in our household. Shower before bed or shower in the morning or both?
I'm very indifferent on this. I could care
You're
less.
indifferent.
So I shower every morning when I get up. And my reasoning is just because that is
Because it's 3:30 in the morning and you
it's
need
very
to
early, and I
wake
want to
yourself
wake
up.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm I mean, I get in the shower and I will sometimes like sit there and just let the
I'll say,
water.
how many times have you said, I practically fell asleep in the shower this morning?
I have fallen asleep in the shower,
Yeah.
but also um I don't mind a shower before bed.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes like that because
We
I
live where it's hot. And
yeah I work outside
yeah.
sometimes. There are many times I come home from work. I've worked outside. I'm
Ben
gross.
showers a lot, you guys. There's a lot of showers. You don't like to feel sweaty or dirty.
I have to shower every day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day.
Yeah.
And if time permitted, I would shower multiple times a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this is not a fight this would not be a fight in our house. If someone wants to shower multiple times a day, I am here for it.
Yeah.
It does not matter to me. I don't care. For me personally, I will shower two. Yeah, minimum I'm showering once a day.
Mm-hmm.
If time permits, I would even shower at night. I don't always get the shower before bed, but if I was able to, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So, what's yours?
I hate showering. You guys, I cannot explain to you the mental toll. I have to gear myself up mentally to take a shower. It just seems like, and I don't know. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know if this says something about me as a human being, but it is one thing that feels mentally and physically exhausting to try to perform. One, I have long hair. And I swear if I was a guy, I'd shower way more often because Ben gets out of the shower and like gets dressed and leaves the house. If I wash my hair, it's an hour process to get it to the point where then I can
It's not the same.
leave the house. No, it's hard to compare. And I hate taking showers. I hate standing there. I feel anxious. I hate it. I hate it. I don't know why. It has been something that even I fought with as a teenager with my parents about. What I do like doing is I like to take, and this might be gross to some people, I like a bath. I didn't know that people were grossed out by baths until I was later in life.
Their life.
But
Don't judge.
so I like to take a bath at night before bed. And then I only wash my hair 1 to 2 times a week. If you ever see me on social media and I have my hair in a ponytail or with a hat on or a headscarf or any way, shape, or form, it is because I'm trying to drag out between hair washing days.
That's pretty normal.
It's become a lot more accepted now that it's actually really bad health for your hair to wash it a ton of times. And so, yeah, if I could, I'd take a bath every night before bed I like to take an Epsom salt and coconut oil bath. I feel clean. I feel relaxed. Put on clean pajamas and crawl into a bed with clean sheets. I think I said before, if I was like, had all the money in the world and spent something on ridiculous, I would have freshly laundered sheets put on my bed every single day.
No, I can understand that.
Yeah, there is something about that. And yeah, so I prefer cleansing my body, I guess, at night before bed. But then, yeah, then I wash my hair. But typically I end up washing my hair like in the sink or like over the like handheld shower thing. I will do anything I can to not have to just stand in the shower. I can't explain it. Maybe it has to do with my ADHD. I hate it. Yeah.
See, and it's my OCD. I have to do it multiple times.
Yeah.
But
yeah, when we've gone places or if I'm hot and sweaty or we've been outside, I will put my hair up. I have a hair net thing. I will take a quick body shower. If I feel sweaty and gross, yes, I can't stand just feeling that way. But for the most part, I just prefer to take a bath in the evenings and then wash my hair 1 to 2 times a week and avoid taking a shower as much as possible. Nothing wrong with that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for submitting the question. It was so nice that I did not have to think of one. And yeah, let me know if this is Ralph or if this is Beatrice. I hope I'm saying that night. Beatrice. Beatrice. Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah, send me a voice memo and let me know. Okay, guys. Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow, subscribe, support all of the things, and join us next week when Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.